We're in the car park at Lijssenhoek Military Cemetery here on the right, and then in front of us is the Visitors Centre, which tells the history of the Canadian Casualty Clearing Station, which was adjacent to the cemetery. The history of some of the military personnel who are buried here are covered in the Visitors Centre, and here we're looking at pilots who lost their lives in the vicinity. And here you see a location map showing in the bottom right-hand corner Lijssenhoek Military Cemetery, a few miles to the south of Poperinge in Belgium. And then we're going to look at a 1918 photograph of the cemetery, and this particular one with headstones which are parts of aircraft propellers and been replaced by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission headstones.
Surely the largest of the Bureau grounds on the Western Front. Some 20,000 fallen soldiers rest there, far away from the family and fatherhood. Here rest some 2,000 French, all except 20 killed in the bloody days of Camel, April 1980. Some 150 Americans and 15,000 English. And also an English nurse, who died the victim of a sacrifice in one of the many surgeries installed around the field of the dead during the war. Only 2 Belgians are buried there. Homage to all those noble heroes.
There are sections about the history of the military cemetery, and then what you're going to look at is some of the architecture and indeed some of the visitors that came to the cemetery probably within a decade of it being built. So there's some of the initial plans, its opening, and some of the mothers and other relatives were visiting in the 1920s. Looking at the structure of the health cover that they were doing, how people arrived there. Some were certainly coming from Essex Farm on the edge of Ypres. Some of the plans. And then as they were developing the site for the Visitors Centre, they were indeed collecting artifacts from the World War I site. The cemetery is to the left of where we are here. And here are a few of the artifacts that were found. A picture of the cemetery early on, no wall, no corner cross. And then we flash to now with the low sort of hip-high wall and some of the early grave markings that were there. And many of them
went from one to another, unwound bandages, held up limbs for amputation, fetched splints, padding, gauze, or new bandages. The hot atmosphere was heavy with the fumes of chloroform and ether. Some of the wounded had arms that hung by shreds of muscle and sinew. Others had feet that were nothing but masses of clotted blood, lumps of torn flesh, and bits of bone tied up in blood-sodden linen parcels. Some had deep holes in their backs. Others had gashes in their heads, from which soft, pink matter oozed.
Leaving the Visitors Centre and the low wall surrounding the cemetery, just walking through just these beautiful quiet, serene, green lawns with all these headstones and the tragedy of lost lives, we will say wasted, lost lives. And there's the chestnut tree in front of us. With the advantage of having been there before, we knew where we were going, and so just walked down this centre aisle with 9,901 Commonwealth graves around us out of a total of 10,785. And because it's October, chestnut tree had dropped an awful lot of chestnuts already, and we're looking at a grave which happens to be very close to the one next door to it. It seems no order with that. Sapper Harry Hunt, and it says, "Sometime we'll understand." And amongst the graves, there is one woman, a staff nurse, Nellie Spindler. It was built on a farm by Remy Quegbeer, and so it was known as Remy Station or Remy Farm for quite a while. And here are some other views of the chestnut trees and the surroundings. The main entrance at one end, and over towards there is the very large stone of remembrance that's present in every larger Commonwealth War Graves Commission graveyard. So, final look here at the Royal Engineer. Died on the 8th of April 1916, and I'm really not sure that we will understand sometime.